Stop everything you're doing right now. Take a deep breath. What I'm about to share with you in the next few moments didn't reach you by accident. There's a profound reason, almost impossible to explain with ordinary words, why you're here now, experiencing exactly this at this precise instant of your life. And if you feel even the slightest vibration in your chest, a strange sense of familiarity, as if something within you already knows what's coming, then understand this. The process has already begun. The door is already opened, and you, whether you realize it or not, have already taken the first step into a reality that will change absolutely everything you believed was possible. Let me ask you something that might sound simple, but carries the weight of an entire existence. Have you ever felt like the life you're living isn't quite the life you're meant to be living? As if there's another version of you somewhere, living with more intensity, more purpose, more connection to something greater. As if there's a parallel reality where you don't have to struggle so much, where things flow with an almost magical naturalness, where every moment carries a deep meaning you can feel but can't explain. That feeling has a name. It's the call of quantum consciousness trying to awaken within you. It's your true nature, the one that exists beyond fears, beyond limitations, beyond all the stories you tell yourself about who you are and what you're capable of achieving. And the fact that you're here, in this moment, absorbing these words, is the clearest proof that this awakening isn't something that will happen in the future. It's happening now, this very second. With every beat of your heart, I'll be completely transparent with you. Millions of people have passed by this same content without feeling absolutely anything. They closed the page, moved on with their lives, continued sleeping the deep sleep of ordinary consciousness. But not you. Something in you, an intelligence that operates beyond your conscious mind, recognized that here exists a key. A key you've been searching for, perhaps without knowing it, for years, decades, maybe your entire life. Quantum consciousness isn't an abstract theory created by scientists in distant laboratories. It's not an esoteric philosophy reserved for a chosen few. It's the living, pulsing, experiential understanding that you're not a separate being navigating alone through an indifferent universe. You are a conscious expression of the universe itself, experiencing itself through the unique and precious perspective that is your life. Every thought you have doesn't die in the silence of your mind. It travels, ripples, resonates through the invisible field that connects all things. Every emotion you feel isn't just a chemical reaction in your brain. It's a frequency you're transmitting to the fabric of reality, and that reality, being perfectly coherent, always responds. Think for a moment about all the strange coincidences that have happened in your life. That person who appeared exactly when you needed them most. That opportunity that emerged from nowhere at the perfect moment. That casual conversation that completely changed the direction of your life. That book that fell from the shelf right when you were looking for an answer. That dream that became reality in a way you never could have planned. You called it luck, chance, coincidence. But what if I told you that each of these moments was an answer? A response from the quantum field to the signals you were emitting, even without knowing it. And here's what might be the most impactful revelation. If you're feeling resistance now, a skeptical voice inside you saying this is impossible, that it's fantasy, that it can't be true, that resistance is exactly the proof that something profound is being touched. Because the conditioned mind, the one that's been programmed since birth to believe in separation, in limitation, in powerlessness, will always resist when confronted with the truth of your unlimited nature. Allow me to guide you through a simple but transformative experience. Right now, as you read these words, become aware of your breath. Don't control it, just observe. Notice how the air flows in and out, how your body knows exactly what to do without you needing to command it. Now expand your perception. Become aware of the space around you, the ambient sound, the light, the temperature. Notice how in this moment of expanded attention something shifts. Time seems to slow down, thoughts quiet. A subtle but undeniable presence makes itself felt. What you're feeling now, this presence, this consciousness that observes, that is aware of being aware, this is you touching the quantum field. This is you remembering who you really are. And perhaps now you begin to understand why this moment is so significant. From this point forward, you have a choice. You can close this page, return to life as it was, pretend you didn't feel what you felt, that you don't know what you now know. Or you can accept the invitation. You can say yes to the awakening that has already begun. Listen carefully. If you feel this resonance, type 99 in the comments. It means you're 99% there, just one step from the breakthrough. And subscribe now, because what's coming next will show you exactly how to take that final step. You see, there's an invisible threshold between ordinary consciousness and quantum awareness. Most people live their entire lives without knowing it exists. But once you cross it, once you see what's on the other side, there's no going back. And the signs that you've already begun crossing, they're probably happening to you right now in ways you haven't even recognized yet. There is a moment in every human life when reality cracks open. Not violently, not dramatically, but quietly, like a whisper that changes everything. It's the moment you realize that the world you've been living in is not the only world that exists, that the rules you've been following are not the only rules, that the person you thought you were is just a fraction of who you really are. This moment, this crossing, is what we call the invisible portal into quantum consciousness. And whether you realize it or not, you've already begun walking through it. The portal doesn't announce itself with fanfare. It doesn't come with a manual or a guide. Instead, it reveals itself through subtle shifts in your perception that at first you might dismiss as imagination. Maybe you've started having dreams so vivid they feel more real than your waking life. Maybe you've begun noticing patterns everywhere, the same numbers appearing repeatedly, the same themes emerging in completely unrelated conversations, the same message reaching you through different sources. Maybe you've experienced moments of knowing something before it happens, or thinking of someone seconds before they call, or feeling a sudden certainty about a decision without any logical reason. These aren't coincidences. They're not your mind playing tricks on you. They're the first signs that you've crossed the threshold from linear consciousness into quantum awareness. It's like you've been living in a two-dimensional world, and suddenly you're beginning to perceive the third dimension. Everything that seemed flat and predictable now reveals depth, meaning, interconnection. Before crossing this portal, life feels heavy, solid, fixed. You wake up every morning to the same reality, bound by the same limitations, fighting the same battles. You believe you're a separate individual struggling against a hostile or indifferent universe. Your thoughts feel trapped inside your skull. Your emotions seem purely personal. Your actions appear to affect only your immediate surroundings. This is the prison of ordinary consciousness, not because it's wrong, but because it's incomplete. It's like trying to understand the ocean by looking at a single drop of water. But once you cross the threshold, everything changes. You begin to sense that your thoughts aren't confined to your brain. They ripple outward, touching the field of consciousness that connects all things. You start to feel that your emotions aren't just personal experiences. They're frequencies you're broadcasting into the universe, and the universe is responding. You realize that your presence, your attention, your intention all have weight in the quantum field. You're not just observing reality, you're participating in its creation. The crossing often happens during moments of crisis or profound stillness. Sometimes it's triggered by loss, when someone you love dies, when a relationship ends, when a dream collapses. The pain cracks you open, and in that opening, a greater truth enters. Sometimes it's triggered by beauty, a sunset that stops you in your tracks, a piece of music that moves you to tears, a moment of love so pure it dissolves all boundaries. Sometimes it happens in meditation, in nature, in the space between sleep and waking. But however it happens, once you cross, you can never fully return to the old way of seeing. This is why you might be feeling disoriented lately. Why the things that used to matter so much seem suddenly empty. Why the goals you've been chasing feel less important. Why you find yourself questioning everything you once believed. This disorientation isn't a problem, it's a sign. You're between worlds. You've left the shore of the known, but you haven't yet reached the other side. You're in the space between who you were and who you're becoming. And here's what's crucial to understand. This crossing isn't something you do once and it's complete. It's an ongoing process, a deepening, a continuous expansion. Every time you choose presence over distraction, every time you choose love over fear, Every time you choose trust over control, you step further through the portal. Every synchronicity you notice, every intuition you follow, every moment of expanded awareness strengthens your connection to the quantum field. The portal is invisible because it exists not in physical space, but in consciousness itself. You can't see it with your eyes, but you can feel it with every cell of your being. It's the shift from thinking you're in the universe to realizing you are the universe experiencing itself through a human form. It's the transition from believing in separation to experiencing unity. It's the movement from fear-based living to love-based being. Right now, as you absorb these words, you're standing at this portal. Part of you wants to rush forward, eager to explore this new dimension. Part of you wants to run back to the familiar, even if the familiar no longer fits. This tension is natural. It's the stretch of growth, the discomfort of expansion. But know this, the portal isn't going anywhere. It's always here, always available, always inviting you deeper. And with each breath, with each choice, with each moment of awareness, you're walking through it, discovering that what awaits on the other side isn't a different world. It's the same world seen with awakened eyes. Something extraordinary begins to happen when you awaken to quantum consciousness. The universe stops being a silent, indifferent backdrop to your life and becomes a living conversation partner. It starts speaking to you in a language that bypasses words, a language of synchronicities, sensations, and signs that arrive with such perfect timing that they leave you breathless. These aren't random events scattered through your days. They're responses, confirmations, guided messages from the quantum field that you're finally beginning to hear. The first and most undeniable sign is synchronicity. You think of an old friend you haven't spoken to in years, and within hours they message you out of nowhere. You're struggling with a decision and suddenly everywhere you look, billboards, conversations, songs on the radio, all seem to point toward the same answer. You dream of a specific symbol, and the next day it appears repeatedly in your waking life. Once you would have called this coincidence. Now you recognize it for what it truly is, the universe responding to your frequency, mirroring your inner state in the outer world. Your body becomes a more sensitive instrument, picking up frequencies you never noticed before. You might feel sudden warmth flooding through your chest when you're aligned with truth, tingling in your hands when creative energy is flowing, a subtle pressure at the center of your forehead when your intuition is activating, goosebumps that rise not from cold but from recognition. Your body's way of saying, yes, this is important, pay attention. These aren't imaginary sensations. They're your physical form translating quantum information into signals you can feel. Time starts behaving strangely. You'll be completely absorbed in something you love and hours pass like minutes. Or you'll experience a single moment of profound presence that feels like it contains eternity. You begin to notice that when you're in flow, in alignment with the quantum field, time becomes elastic, bendable, responsive to your state of consciousness. Deadlines that seemed impossible suddenly work out. Delays that frustrated you reveal themselves as perfect timing in hindsight. Your dreams transform from random neural firings into a communication channel. They become vivid, meaningful, often prophetic. You dream of conversations that happen days later. You receive solutions to problems you've been struggling with. You meet guides, receive symbols, explore dimensions that feel more real than physical reality. The boundary between sleeping and waking consciousness becomes thinner, more permeable. You realize that your dreams aren't separate from your life. They're another layer of it. The emotional atmosphere around you becomes palpable. You walk into a room and immediately sense the energy, tension, joy, sadness, excitement, without anyone saying a word. You can feel when someone is thinking about you. You know when something significant is about to happen. Your emotional body expands beyond your physical boundaries, becoming a radar for the invisible currents moving through the quantum field. Nature begins communicating with you directly. A butterfly lands on your hand at the exact moment you're making an important decision. Birds appear as messengers, their songs arriving precisely when you need encouragement. The wind picks up just as you have a breakthrough thought. Clouds form patterns that speak to your subconscious. You realize that nature isn't just scenery. It's a living oracle, constantly reflecting your inner state and offering guidance. Numbers become a language. You see 1111 on clocks repeatedly. Your birthday numbers appear in unexpected places. Certain number sequences follow you everywhere, on receipts, license plates, phone numbers. Each sequence carries a frequency, a message, a confirmation that you're on the right path. The mathematical matrix underlying reality begins revealing itself to you through these numerical synchronicities. People arrive in your life with uncanny timing. Someone you meet casually speaks the exact words you needed to hear. A stranger recommends a book that answers your deepest question. Old relationships that no longer serve you naturally fade away, while new connections that resonate with your frequency magnetize toward you. You realize that every person you meet is both a mirror and a teacher, reflecting aspects of yourself and offering opportunities for growth. But here's what makes these signs truly significant. They respond to your attention. The more you notice them, the more they appear. The more you trust them, the clearer they become. The more you act on them, the more powerful they grow. It's as if the universe is constantly adjusting its communication to match your level of receptivity. If you're experiencing even a few of these signs, if you're nodding your head because you felt exactly what I'm describing, then you need to stay connected to this frequency. Subscribe to this channel right now. Not tomorrow, not later, but now. Because these signs are just the beginning. The universe is trying to tell you something profound. And every video you watch here will help you decode its message more clearly. You see, what most people don't realize is that these signs aren't just interesting phenomena to observe. They're invitations to participate more consciously in the creation of your reality. Each synchronicity is showing you that your thoughts matter, that your attention has power, that your consciousness is entangled with the fabric of existence itself. And once you truly understand this, once you learn to read these signs fluently, you discover something that changes everything. You're not just receiving messages from the universe, you're having a dialogue with it. And that dialogue is about to reveal the biggest illusion you've been living under. The greatest lie you've ever been told is that you're alone. From the moment you were born, every structure of society, every lesson you learned, every experience you interpreted through the lens of individual consciousness has reinforced this fundamental deception. That you are a separate being, isolated in a body, disconnected from everything and everyone around you. This lie is so deeply embedded in the fabric of human experience that questioning it feels like questioning reality itself. But here's the truth that quantum consciousness reveals. Separation is not reality. It's a persistent illusion, a trick of perception, a misunderstanding so profound that it has shaped the entire trajectory of human suffering. When you truly begin to awaken, this illusion doesn't just fade, it shatters. And in its place emerges a truth so overwhelming, so beautiful, so fundamentally altering that your entire understanding of existence reorganizes itself. You realize that you've never been separate from anything. Not from other people, not from nature, not from the stars, not from the intelligence that orchestrates the universe. You are not a drop in the ocean. You are the ocean, experiencing itself as a drop. Think about your breath for a moment. The air you're breathing right now was breathed by someone else moments ago. It has traveled through trees, across oceans, through the lungs of countless beings throughout history. The oxygen entering your bloodstream right now once floated in clouds, fell as rain, nourished plants, cycled through the atmosphere countless times. Where does the air end and you begin? Where is the boundary? The truth is, there is no boundary. There never was. The separation is conceptual, not actual. The same atoms that compose your body were forged in the hearts of dying stars billions of years ago. You are literally made of cosmic dust, organized temporarily into this pattern you call yourself. The calcium in your bones, the iron in your blood, the carbon in your DNA, all of it has existed since the beginning of time, flowing through countless forms, and will continue existing long after this current configuration dissolves. You are not separate from the universe. You are the universe looking at itself, conscious of itself, experiencing itself subjectively. When this illusion of separation dissolves, relationships transform completely. You look into another person's eyes and no longer see a stranger. You see another expression of the same consciousness that looks through your eyes. Their pain becomes real to you because it is your pain, experienced through another nervous system. Their joy uplifts you because it is your joy, celebrated through another form. Compassion stops being something you practice and becomes something you are, because hurting another is literally hurting yourself, and healing another is healing yourself. This isn't metaphorical. It's physics. Quantum entanglement shows us that particles that have once interacted remain connected regardless of distance. Change one and the other responds instantly, faster than the speed of light, as if space between them doesn't exist. And you, composed of countless particles that have interacted with particles throughout the universe, are entangled with everything. Your thoughts create ripples in the quantum field that affect the whole. Your emotions broadcast frequencies that influence the collective consciousness. Your very existence changes the universe in ways your mind cannot fully comprehend. The dissolution of separation also reveals why you've always felt that deep longing, that sense that something is missing, that quiet ache for connection that nothing seems to fully satisfy. It's because you've been trying to connect with what you already are. You've been searching outside for what exists inside. You've been reaching for others when others are already you, experiencing yourself from different points of view. When indigenous peoples speak of all beings as relations, when mystics describe unity consciousness, when poets write about the interconnected web of existence, they're not using pretty metaphors. They're describing the actual nature of reality that becomes visible when the illusion of separation dissolves. Every tree is your relative. Every star is your ancestor. Every person you meet is yourself, wearing a different face, living a different story, but animated by the same fundamental consciousness. This understanding changes how you move through the world. You can no longer carelessly destroy because you understand that you're destroying part of yourself. You can no longer hate without feeling the poison of that hatred in your own being. You can no longer withhold love because you realize that love is what you are, and withholding it is like trying to stop breathing. But perhaps the most profound shift happens in your relationship with existence itself. The universe stops feeling like a vast, cold, empty space where you're accidentally alive for a brief moment. It becomes a living, breathing, conscious entity of which you are an integral part. Every moment becomes sacred because you realize consciousness itself is sacred, and you are consciousness knowing itself. The fear of death begins to dissolve too. Because if you're not separate, if you're a wave in an infinite ocean of consciousness, then what dies? The wave returns to the ocean, but the ocean remains. The form dissolves, but the essence continues. You begin to understand what sages have always known. You were never born, and you will never die. You are the eternal awareness temporarily focused through a human experience. This isn't something to believe in. It's something to recognize, to remember, to experience directly. And once you do, once this illusion of separation truly dissolves, you can never fully believe in it again. You might forget temporarily, caught up in the drama of daily life, but the knowing remains, calling you back to the truth of your infinite, interconnected nature. There comes a moment in every awakening when you realize the most shocking truth of all. Everything in your life, every single experience, every challenge, every blessing, every person who appeared, every door that closed, every opportunity that opened, all of it has been responding to the signal you've been broadcasting into the quantum field. This is the moment victimhood dies. Not because life becomes easier, but because you finally see the mechanism behind the curtain. You understand that you've never been a victim of reality. You've been its co-author all along. This revelation can be overwhelming at first. It might even make you angry. How could you have created the painful experiences? Why would you have chosen the struggles? What about the injustices, the losses, the heartbreaks? But here's what quantum consciousness reveals. Creation isn't about conscious choice alone. It's about the total frequency you emit. Your thoughts, yes, but also your unconscious beliefs, your emotional patterns, your inherited traumas, your soul's agenda for growth. You've been creating from all levels of your being, most of them below the threshold of awareness. Think of yourself as a broadcasting station that never stops transmitting. Every thought you think sends out a wavelength. Every emotion you feel pulses with a specific frequency. Every belief you hold creates a magnetic field around you. And the universe, in its perfect responsiveness, matches these signals with corresponding experiences. Fear attracts what you fear. Gratitude multiplies what you're grateful for. Expectation shapes what appears. This isn't punishment or reward, it's simply the neutral. impersonal law of resonance operating with mathematical precision. The victim mindset says, life happens to me. The conscious creator knows, life happens from me and through me. This shift changes everything. Suddenly, the person who betrayed you becomes a mirror showing you where you were betraying yourself. The job you lost reveals itself as the universe forcing you out of a situation that no longer matched your evolving frequency. The illness becomes a message from your body about what needs attention and transformation. Nothing is random. Nothing is meaningless. Everything is feedback. But conscious creation isn't about controlling every detail with your ego mind. That's still victimhood disguised as power. True conscious creation is about alignment, aligning your human will with the deeper intelligence that knows exactly what you need for your highest evolution. It's about becoming a clear channel through which divine creativity can flow. It's about recognizing that the same force that spins galaxies and blooms flowers is operating through you, and your job is not to control it, but to cooperate with it. When you step into conscious creation, your relationship with desire transforms. You stop desperately wanting things from a place of lack and begin choosing from a place of wholeness. You understand that desire itself is the universe experiencing itself through you, reaching for its own expansion. Your authentic desires, not the ones programmed by society, but the ones that arise from your soul, are actually the universe's desires expressing through your unique perspective. The practice of conscious creation requires radical honesty. You must look at your life and ask, what have I been creating unconsciously? If you're surrounded by drama, what part of you is addicted to intensity? If you keep attracting unavailable partners, where are you unavailable to yourself? If money constantly slips through your fingers, what beliefs about deserving or value are you carrying? This isn't about blame. It's about reclaiming your power to create differently. You also discover that creation happens in the quantum field before it manifests in physical reality. Every structure you see around you, buildings, relationships, organizations, existed first as an idea, a frequency, a potential in someone's consciousness. The chair you're sitting in was imagined before it was built. The device you're using was conceived before it was manufactured. In the same way, your future already exists as potential in the quantum field, waiting for your consciousness to select it from infinite possibilities. Time reveals itself as a creation tool, not a limitation. You learn that you can heal your past by changing your relationship to it now. You can influence your future by adjusting your current frequency. You discover that manifestation isn't about forcing something to happen in the future. It's about aligning with the reality where it already exists and allowing that timeline to become your experience. But perhaps the most powerful aspect of conscious creation is recognizing your impact on the collective field. Every time you choose love over fear, you make it easier for others to do the same. Every time you heal a pattern within yourself, you contribute to healing that pattern in the collective consciousness. Every time you embody a higher frequency, you create a template that others can follow. You're not just creating your individual reality. You're participating in the creation of our shared reality. This is why victimhood must die completely. As long as you believe you're powerless, you cannot fully step into your role as a conscious creator. As long as you blame others or circumstances, you leak the very energy needed for transformation. But when you take absolute responsibility, not blame, but responsibility, for your creative power, miracles become natural. Synchronicities multiply. Reality becomes increasingly responsive to your conscious participation. The death of victimhood is the birth of the magician, the alchemist, the conscious creator who understands that reality is not fixed but fluid, not solid but malleable, not happening to you but waiting for your creative participation. The universe has been speaking to you your entire life, but only now are you beginning to understand its language. It doesn't use words or sentences. It doesn't communicate through logical arguments or linear explanations. Instead, it speaks through patterns, coincidences, and meaningful alignments that your rational mind wants to dismiss, but your soul immediately recognizes. This is the secret language of synchronicity, the mother tongue of consciousness itself. the way the quantum field confirms that you're exactly where you need to be. Synchronicity is not randomness. It's the opposite of randomness. It's the universe showing you that nothing is random, that everything is connected by invisible threads of meaning, and that your consciousness is the weaver bringing these threads together. When you think of someone and they call, when you need an answer and it appears in an unexpected conversation, when you see repeating numbers everywhere you look, these aren't coincidences. They're confirmations. The field is saying, yes, you're aligned. Yes, you're on the right path. Yes, I'm listening to you as much as you're listening to me. But here's what most people don't understand about synchronicity. It's not just a sign to observe, it's a dialogue to engage with. Every synchronicity is both a message and an invitation. The universe is not only speaking to you, it's inviting you to speak back. When you acknowledge a synchronicity, when you thank the universe for the sign, when you act on the guidance it provides, you strengthen the communication channel. You're telling the field, I'm paying attention. I'm ready for more. I'm willing to dance with you. The language of synchronicity operates on multiple levels simultaneously. There's the surface level, the obvious meaning that makes you stop and notice. But there are deeper layers, personal meanings that only you can decode because they're speaking directly to your unique experience, your specific questions, your individual journey. A white feather might mean an angel's presence to one person and a departed grandmother's hello to another. The number sequence 444 might signal stability to someone and creative activation to someone else. The universe tailors its messages to your personal symbol dictionary, the one you've been unconsciously creating your entire life. Alignment is the state where synchronicities flow effortlessly. When you're aligned, you don't have to hunt for signs, they find you. Parking spaces open up just as you arrive. The perfect person appears at the perfect moment. Resources flow to you from unexpected sources. Obstacles dissolve before they fully form. It's as if you're swimming with a current instead of against it. And that current knows exactly where you need to go, even when you don't. But alignment isn't a permanent state you achieve once and maintain forever. It's a dynamic dance, a constant tuning and retuning of your frequency to match the highest possibility available in each moment. Some days you're perfectly aligned and miracles unfold effortlessly. Other days you feel off, disconnected, like you're speaking a different language than the universe. This fluctuation is natural, even necessary. It's how you learn to consciously adjust your frequency, to deliberately return to alignment when you've drifted away. The universe also uses synchronicity to course correct you. When you're moving in a direction that doesn't serve your highest good, the signs become obstacles. Delays, cancellations, technology failures, repeated challenges, these aren't punishments, they're redirections. The universe is saying, not this way. There's something better. Trust the redirection. Learning to read these course corrections without resistance is one of the highest skills of quantum consciousness. Numbers become especially active in this dialogue. Digital clocks become oracle devices. License plates carry messages. Receipt totals form meaningful patterns. You realize that mathematics is the fundamental language of the universe, and through number synchronicities, you're receiving direct transmission from the geometric intelligence that structures reality. Each number carries a frequency, a quality, an invitation. When you see 1111, you're being reminded of your alignment with higher consciousness. When 333 appears repeatedly, creativity is being activated. When 545 shows up, major changes announcing itself. People become synchronicities in human form. Someone appears in your life carrying exactly the medicine you need, whether it's wisdom, healing, challenge, or love. Sometimes they stay for years, sometimes for minutes, but the timing is always perfect. You learn to recognize that every person who crosses your path is a synchronicity, a living message from the universe delivered through human interaction. The stranger who says exactly what you needed to hear, the child who asks the perfect question, the friend who calls at precisely the right moment, all of them are the universe speaking to you through the mouths of others. Dreams and synchronicities begin to weave together, creating a 24-hour dialogue with the quantum field. You dream of a symbol and encounter it the next day. You receive guidance in sleep and see it confirmed in waking life. The boundary between inner and outer experience becomes increasingly fluid as you realize they're both part of the same conversation, just experienced through different states of consciousness. The more fluent you become in this language, the more you realize that synchronicity isn't just about personal guidance. It's about recognizing your place in the larger symphony of existence. Every synchronicity shows you that you're not separate from the whole, but an integral note in the cosmic composition. Your timing is connected to universal timing. Your path is woven into the larger tapestry. Your individual journey is simultaneously a collective one, and this is where synchronicity becomes truly magical. When you realize you're not just receiving synchronicities, you're also being a synchronicity in other people's lives. You're showing up at the perfect time for them, delivering messages you don't even know you're carrying, being the answer to prayers you never heard. Time is not what you've been told it is. The clock on your wall, the calendar on your phone, the linear progression from past to present to future, these are conveniences, agreements, useful illusions that help organize human society. But they are not the truth of time. In quantum consciousness, time reveals itself as something far more extraordinary, a fluid, multidimensional ocean where past, present and future exist simultaneously, influencing each other in ways that shatter every logical rule you've been taught. You've already experienced this fluidity, though you might have dismissed it. Remember a moment when hours passed like minutes because you were completely absorbed in something you loved? Remember when a single second of danger stretched into what felt like an eternity, your consciousness expanding to notice every detail? These aren't distortions of real time, they're glimpses of time's true nature. Time doesn't move at a fixed rate. It responds to consciousness. It bends around awareness. It stretches and contracts according to the depth of your presence. The past is not fixed in stone. This might be the most liberating discovery of quantum consciousness. Every time you heal an old wound, forgive an ancient hurt, or reframe a painful memory, you're not just changing your relationship to the past, you're literally changing the past itself. Not the events, but the energetic imprint those events left in the quantum field. When you transform trauma into wisdom, victimhood into power, regret into gratitude, you're reaching back through time and altering the frequency that's been broadcasting from that moment. Your present healing reshapes your past, which then creates a different future. The future already exists as infinite potential in the quantum field. Not as one predetermined path, but as countless possible timelines spreading out like branches from this moment. Every choice you make, every thought you think, every emotion you feel is selecting which of these potential futures becomes your experienced reality. You're not moving toward the future, you're drawing it toward you based on the frequency you're holding right now. This is why prophecy is possible, why precognitive dreams happen, why intuition can show you what's coming. Part of your consciousness exists outside linear time, able to glimpse the probability waves before they collapse into experienced reality. The present moment is where all your power lives. Not because the past doesn't matter or the future isn't important, but because the present is the only point where you can influence both. This moment, right now, contains your entire history and all your possible futures. It's the control panel of your timeline, the place where you can heal backwards and create forwards simultaneously. When you're fully present, truly here, you step outside the prison of linear time and into the freedom of quantum time. This understanding transforms how you relate to aging, to deadlines, to the sense that time is running out. You realize that you're not losing time. You're moving through it, and it's moving through you. Every moment fully lived adds depth to your existence rather than subtracting from some finite account. You stop racing against time and start dancing with it. You understand that divine timing isn't about waiting for some external schedule. It's about aligning your internal rhythm with the universal flow. The hardest lesson for the human mind to accept is also the most powerful. Control is an illusion, and surrender is your greatest strength. Everything you've achieved through force, through struggle, through white-knuckled determination pales in comparison to what flows to you when you learn the sacred art of letting go. This isn't the surrender of defeat. This isn't giving up. This is the surrender of a river trusting its path to the ocean. knowing that the intelligence guiding it is far greater than any route it could plan for itself. For most of your life, you've been taught that holding on means you're strong, that fighting harder means you care more, that controlling outcomes means you're responsible. But quantum consciousness reveals the opposite. The tighter you grip, the more you suffocate what's trying to be born. The harder you push, the more resistance you create. The more you try to control, the less control you actually have. True power comes not from forcing life to match your will, but from aligning your will with life's intelligence. Think about the last time you desperately wanted something. You obsessed over it, planned every detail, tried to manipulate circumstances to make it happen. And what occurred? Either it eluded you entirely, or when you finally got it, it felt hollow, different from what you imagined. Now, think about the best things in your life, the ones that truly matter. How many of them came through struggle versus how many flowed to you when you were open, relaxed, trusting? The greatest loves appear when you stop desperately searching. The perfect opportunities arise when you release attachment to outcomes. The deepest healing happens when you stop fighting what is. Surrender doesn't mean becoming passive. It means becoming receptive. It's the difference between a clenched fist that can hold nothing and an open palm that can receive everything. When you surrender, you stop broadcasting the frequency of lack, desperation, and fear. You start emanating trust, abundance, and alignment. And the universe, which has been waiting for you to stop blocking your own blessings, finally has space to deliver what's been trying to reach you all along. The process of letting go often feels like death to the ego. And in a way it is. The part of you that needs to control, that believes it knows best, that fears chaos and uncertainty. This part must die for your quantum self to be fully born. This death isn't violent. It's more like ice melting into water, rigid form dissolving into fluid potential. What feels like loss is actually liberation. What seems like emptiness is actually spaciousness for miracles to enter. Surrender also means releasing your timeline. The universe doesn't operate on human schedules. What you think should happen now might be perfectly timed for 3 months from now. What you believe you missed might have been protection from something that wasn't aligned. When you surrender timing to divine orchestration, you discover that delays are always purposeful, redirections are always beneficial, and what's truly meant for you cannot miss you. The moment you truly let go, something magical happens. Solutions appear that you couldn't see before. People show up with exactly what you need. Doors open that seem permanently closed. Resources flow from unexpected sources. It's as if the universe was always ready to support you but was waiting for you to stop insisting on doing it all yourself. Your surrender becomes the signal that you're ready to receive. We've reached the end of this journey, but in truth, your real journey is just beginning. Everything we've explored together, the invisible portal, the signs from the field, the dissolution of separation, your power as a conscious creator, the secret language of synchronicity, the fluidity of time, the power of surrender, and the ability to jump timelines, all of these aren't concepts to be learned. They're aspects of your true nature to be remembered. You haven't been discovering something foreign. You've been uncovering what was always within you, waiting beneath the layers of conditioning, fear, and forgetfulness. The most beautiful truth is this: you cannot fail at this awakening. It's not a test you can flunk or a destination you might miss. It's a remembering that's already in motion, a flower that's already blooming, a sun that's already rising within your consciousness. Every moment of doubt, every temporary return to old patterns, every time you forget and remember again, it's all part of the perfect unfolding. The universe is infinitely patient with your awakening because the universe is your awakening. From this moment forward, you'll never be able to fully return to sleep. Even when life gets dense, when challenges arise, when you temporarily forget everything you've remembered here, a part of you will always know the truth. You'll carry this knowing like a secret flame that cannot be extinguished. And in your darkest moments, this flame will remind you, you are not separate, you are not powerless, you are not alone. You are consciousness itself, playing the magnificent game of being human. Your awakening isn't just personal, it's planetary. Every time you choose love over fear, Presence over distraction, trust over control. You're not just transforming your own reality. You're adding light to the collective field. You're making it easier for others to awaken. You're participating in the greatest shift humanity has ever experienced, the collective remembering of our quantum nature. You're not just changing your life. You're helping to birth a new Earth. The synchronicities will intensify now. The signs will multiply. The universe will begin speaking to you more clearly, more frequently, more undeniably. Not because anything has changed in the universe, but because something has changed in you. You're tuned to the frequency now. You've learned the language. You've remembered how to listen. And more importantly, you've remembered that you're not just receiving the cosmic conversation. You're an essential voice within it. This is your invitation to live as the quantum being you truly are. To make decisions from your expanded awareness. To trust the intelligence that's always guiding you. To embrace the mystery instead of demanding certainty. To dance with the universe instead of wrestling with it. To create from joy instead of fear. To love without condition. To give without depletion. To receive without guilt. This is what it means to return to your true nature. If this message has awakened something within you, if you feel that stirring of recognition, that inner yes that needs no explanation, then take action on that knowing right now. Subscribe to this channel, not as a casual click, but as a declaration to the universe that you're ready for more. By subscribing, you're saying, I choose to stay awake. I choose to keep remembering. I choose to walk this path with others who are awakening. Every video that appears in your feed will be a perfectly timed reminder. A synchronicity delivered through technology, keeping you aligned with your highest timeline. The door is open. The path is lit. The universe is waiting with infinite patience and infinite love for you to fully embody what you've always been. Welcome home to yourself. Welcome to your quantum nature. Welcome to the reality where miracles aren't exceptions. They're the natural result of living in alignment with who you truly are. This isn't goodbye. It's the beginning of everything.